And let me not confuse celebrity with icon, because the two things are fairly different in my book. You know, you can have an Alex Ferguson for £180,000. You need £5,000 for a translator to go with him. Alex would be an icon. An astronaut would be an icon, a Ben Bernanke. There's a level of speakers that move through the marketplace, or masters of ceremony, which is a totally different skill discipline as well. And we have the actress from Generations, or Miss World, or someone who has some, I don't know, extraordinary story to tell that wouldn't expect normally to be a speaker. The trouble is pricing them and getting the quality back from them. And I think that what you need to understand with a caliber of actress or actor at that level is you're probably going to have your chairman's name mispronounced. I would think of them as more Toastmaster level than professional speaker level. And the two marketplaces don't really mix. You know, having declared fee, I said I charge 36 for a keynote. Superior, what do you charge, sir, for a keynote now?
I charge 20 grand. And I was going to say that one of the most important things with these celebrities is that some of them are terrible speakers. I mean, you sit there and you're like, what is this guy talking about, you know? And I think the people who buy must just understand what you want. If you want some guy to come and wave and get a standing ovation just by being there, that's fine. But if you demand content, you've got to work with a professional, because, in fact, I think the differentiation that you make between an icon like Bernanke and the celebrity who thinks, now that I'm on TV, I can just come in a conference and literally rhyme, you know? Come up with all these rhymes and expect to be paid. I think we have to demand better.
I don't think Advocate Barry Rue is going to become a professional speaker. Go ahead, John.
Just to cover yourself, I would... Often people ask me to recommend speakers and they go on my say-so and probably on your say-so. But I would insist on a briefing with the speaker. Because even if it's a Skype briefing, but it's broken telephone if you are relaying. And that way there can be no miscommunication. So if the speaker doesn't get the brief, well, then you just get your money back from him. But I reckon you've got to get the client in front of the speaker. And it's also great for the speaker because the speaker can upsell, because a lot of speakers do other things. Because I've seen many cases where a speaker was going to do a keynote, and then they said, hey, we don't actually need a keynote, we need a whole training intervention. And instead of getting 20K, he made 400K because, and of course the Speakers Bureau then would have benefited from that too. So nobody can sell the speaker like the speaker. So you need to get him in the room with the client, and you should insist on that in your contract, because it's your reputation at the end of the day. If it goes wrong, and remember it's normally the marketing person or the secretary that hired us.
I want to stay with that thing. Paul, do you want to come into that now?
Can I just jump in just to go one step before that? It's a very good point. It's about the collaboration, and we find that we work really well with PCOs if we actually get in to the brief beforehand as well. So before we actually even go to the speaker selection process, and of course then, because we can help you. The reason that they choose that usually is because they want a big name that's going to attract their clients. It's usually a client event. Who's going to attend if we've got a big name there? And let's see if we can make that work along the way. Sometimes the messages are broken or mixed by the time we get it, and we're sending things back and we're not making the connections, and yet all we need is to go with you. And maybe the days of protecting the client a little bit should be relaxed a little. We've got a very good case of point now with a PCO. It's actually happening this very minute. A huge sales conference. It happens every year. 6 speakers. We get brought in to look the CEO in the eyes, and he turns around and he says, now listen. So the responsibility shifts to the talent management. The people who specialize in it shifts to us, looks at us in the eyes and said, can you guarantee me that all of these speakers are better than last year's conference? The last year's conference was hot. And looks at you, and what do you say to that? I hope so. So you've got to be sure. And so it's a great success because that PCO guards are down. Is PCO the right term? Meeting planners, PCO, is that? There's mixed messages about that at the moment.
But can I just add, just to add to what Paul was saying there, I think if we can get in at that meeting, that's critical in terms of providing value. I always say to clients that the value that I deliver is almost directly proportional to the quality of the brief that I get. And also for you to know that if you're going and pitching at a client, I'm amazed that in 15 years how rare it is that somebody asks me to come in on a no, and I always say I will come in on a no obligation basis to just talk to them. I'm very happy to do that. But the great thing with Paul, and really kudos to you, Paul, on this, is nobody in this industry knows my content other than me as well as you do. You have come to see every single thing that I've done. You sell me better than I do. And so I think if you're going to go out there and you're going to represent people, know what it is that they provide. The reason that I do the bulk of my work for you is that nobody knows my stuff as well as you do. So thank you for that.
Is that because he's a leprechaun?
That's because
I'm over it now.
Vangile, you had a comment, and then Glenn, I'm going to come to you, sir.
I would also say it depends on what you want people to walk out of your conference or event feeling and thinking. So you have to go and find a speaker that can make people feel and think like that. And if the celebrity is not that person, then you have to go out and find a professional speaker that meets those objectives. I mean, I've been in rooms with companies where I literally have to explain to them how they tell me what they want, and then I tell them what I've got, and they say, okay, no, that's not going to work. We don't want to talk about authenticity. Yes, I've had companies say that. We don't want to talk about that because we don't think that's valuable. So then I change what I'm about to talk about, but it's still authentic to me and to what I speak about, but it also is the same objective that I have in mind of what I want as a speaker, people to walk out feeling and thinking, and what the company is aiming for.
What's your exit price, Vangile? What are you charging?
I'm charging 20,000.
And you see at that level emerging into the market from with your content and your expertise, that feels like a really good rate for you in terms of where you are right now,
yes,
and adding in that value. And I think you're exactly saying the right thing, that when you're dealing with more professional speakers, less at the journeyman level, less at the Toastmasters level, less at the Generations Actress level, you're getting into a situation where you'll get more value for your conference by working at the levels that we're talking of now.